lot of stuff to grow through getting out of college. I didn't last long working for General Motors Research Labs because I was so rebellious, you know, and it took my dad disappearing on the top of Casper Mountain in a plane wreck to get my attention and get my head screwed on straight. Through that experience, I saw my mother, who was a strong Christian, survive. I didn't think she would. And that got me going in that direction as well. You're going to learn a lot at Mines, a lot of good things. That probably the best things, how to think, how to solve problems, how to see something and figure, gee, there's a way of fixing that. That's not all that tough. And you know, if you look for opportunities to apply that, you may be surprised at what God can do with you through other people as you go on down the road. Everybody's got to make a living, you know, and you may do that and do some of the other stuff on the side, or you might find you can make a living helping people. During a worship service back in around 2000 at my church, I got the impression that I was supposed to help our sister church down in the Dominican Republic come up with a water treatment system. That was something that I'd been working on for about 10 or 15 years. I knew how to disinfect water, I knew how to clean it up with reverse osmosis, and so it was my wheelhouse. And knowing that, I got the impression, I won't say God told me so, but that's basically how it worked out, to go and build a water system for this church. So I did. And while I was down there, I realized that people had to quit drinking water when they got to be adults because they would get kidney stones. I've never seen so much calcium and magnesium in water in my life anywhere. And it's easy to fix with RO. They started with 350 parts per million of calcium and magnesium in the water. When we got done treating it, they had under 10. And so water was working like water is supposed to work. And I remember talking to some people about whether or not they wanted a water system, whether it would help them. And several men in that group of people got tears in their eyes. And they said, we bury babies every single day. And we know it's the water that's killing them, but there's nothing we can do about it. And I said to myself, that's a problem. That's a real problem. The guy I was working with down there was a missionary. Had spent from our church, about a year down there with he and his wife. And so they knew the people, I knew everything that was going on. Partnered up with him, and he came up with he was a marketing guy. He came up with a plan to put the water system up on the roof of a church, so that it was protected. You know, it wasn't down where people could break in and steal it or damage it or anything like that. Put a few people to work in the church. They were very poor people for the most part, very little compared to what we have. He also came up with the idea that he wanted at least 10% of it to be given away for free to people that really needed it. His schools was what he had in mind. Well, the only schools down in the Dominican are Catholic schools, so they started giving 10% of the water that they were making to the local Catholic school. And I'm sure at first the Catholics probably figured, what's their real agenda here? After a while, I came to realize there was no real agenda. That was just giving them good water. And doggone if that didn't help get Catholics and Protestants back together down in the Dominican Republic. since then, Tom Larson went on to found a group called Healing Waters International. I think they're in 4 or 5 countries now. And they build water systems all over the world. It's a great place to put a little money. If you've got some, sponsor a water system and help some people that have a real, honest to goodness problem in their life. It gives me pleasure every single time I think about Healing Waters International, and do the best you can at what you do and look for opportunities to get outside of yourself. It's not all about making money. There are a lot of people that your skills will help if you just look to apply them. And you're going into a lot of different fields. But the main thing you're going to learn at Mines is how to think and how to solve problems. So use that skill and solve some problems.